So this morning, we are continuing the conversation about your children and drugs as part of my I-Team investigation, Cracking the Code. Last night, we showed you the code words that teens and drug dealers use to hide text message conversations about drugs from their parents. You know, common everyday emojis that you think nothing of: a football, a car, shopping cart, their code for Oxycontin, or a parking sign, which can refer to Percocet, a chocolate bar, which can also mean Xanax pills. This morning, we're focusing on the use of social media to sell drugs to your kids. Teens, you should know, are purposely being targeted on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it. TJ Ward is the North Florida Director of Advocacy for Project Opioid. Kathleen Roberts is the Executive Director of the Community Coalition Alliance. Both are here, of course, to explain how this is happening. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. So, Kathleen, let me start with you. Can you explain to our viewer who may not be on any of these apps, you know, because they're parents and they're trusting their children, and how prevalent drugs are being exposed to them on social media?
Absolutely. Right now, first, thank you so much for having us, because this is one of those issues that is just exploding more and more every single day. So whatever numbers we come up with, tomorrow it's going to be even larger. And the amount of influence that we're seeing on youth is just incredible. First, we have to understand that social media has also exploded just in use. I mean, we have probably about 70% of the entire population on social media, but when you talk about youth or young adults, we're talking about more than 95%. And so that means that's where they are all the time. It's where they share information about themselves in lots of details. That's how they get information also. Instead of watching the news, they'll go to TikTok, figure out what's going on. So people know that's where they are. And so that's where they're being targeted. And it's very easy to buy whatever it is that you want. And now with the increase of fentanyl, especially the counterfeit pills and rainbow fentanyl, they have probably 26 states at least already have seen the increase in rainbow fentanyl alone and being sold all across. And right now you can't even take a chance, because every counterfeit pill out of every 5, 2 have enough of a lethal dose to just kill you instantly.
And rainbow fentanyl is essentially being marketed because it looks like candy.
It does, absolutely.
Right. And around Halloween, that's something to certainly make sure that you're reminded of as you let the kids kind of go out on their own. So, TJ, you know, I know that the city and really through Project Opioid as well is trying to counter this. Can you tell us how we kind of got here with the campaign that is now going on right now to try to meet kids where they're going and educate them about the risks?
Sure, because we know, as you reported, that drug dealers are utilizing social media to sell these illicit pills or illicit drugs laced with fentanyl. We thought that it'd be a good idea to do a campaign to really educate, especially the Gen Z population, on the dangers of fentanyl. And so we came up with the idea and we pitched it to our trusted partner here at Community Coalition Alliance, Kathleen, as well as our friends over at North Florida HIDA, and together we came up with a campaign idea to really help promote the dangers of fentanyl. And so we hired Cantrice Jones over at Acuity Design Group to help us come up with the concept. And it's been in existence for a little over 2 months now. And in that amount of time, we've had people view the ads over 2 million times across all of the platforms that we're leveraging, which is Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. In addition to that, tens of thousands of people have clicked through to the website to get more information and to access resources related to the dangers of fentanyl, and especially, as Kathleen mentioned, these fake pills that are being laced with fentanyl.
And TJ, I want to, while you're talking, actually, because I want to talk a little bit, it's called Anything But Obvious. We actually have video to show our parents at home that this is the kind of counter, right, to trying to explain to our teens, you know, the reality and why anything but obvious.
So anything but obvious is kind of the concept of, look, when it comes to understanding what is in that pill that you're going to take or any drug that you buy off the street, you know, the fact that it could be laced with fentanyl. There are so many things in this world that are obvious, but that is not one of them. So it's not worth it. And the campaign is actually called Not Worth It. It's not worth it to take that risk because, as Kathleen said, there's a good percentage of those pills that have a lethal dose of fentanyl. So this is anything but obvious, you know, when it comes to the safety of the drug that you're taking.
I want to show our viewers, and I shared Max Scheller's story last night during the news at 5:30. So Max was 24 years old. He accidentally overdosed on, it was a fentanyl, an accidental fentanyl overdose. I encourage our viewers to go and watch the interview with his mom that I had. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I mean, I could not get through that interview without crying myself as a parent. And the reality is, Kathleen, is that we trust in our kids. Max's parents were very involved. They asked a lot of questions. But when you are just a few clicks away as a young man or a young adult to being exposed to something that perhaps you want to try, countering that is just so difficult. She really feels there is a war on our children, that this is being marketed, and that our kids just who think that they're invincible don't realize the danger. Your message to parents who maybe trust their kids a little more than they should? Don't ask enough questions, maybe?
Yes. I think now more than ever is the time to realize we have to talk to our kids. We have to move past the stigma of what substance use is and really make that as a part of our conversations. We talk to them about so many other things to keep them safe. This has to be on that list. And we can't wait until they're in high school. We can't wait till they're in middle school. We have to start having those conversations. Age appropriate, of course, but from the time that they're starting to go to school, because you don't know what they're going to be exposed to. You don't know where they're going to get a hold of something. And with the access to the media, I mean, that social media is instant information, instant access to availability, and all of a sudden, they have a store at the click of a finger.
And the influence from their friends over them, yes, compared to maybe what their parents are telling them. Kathleen, TJ, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. It was important to us to continue this conversation, not only from last night into this morning, but also